Hello, this is Matthew from Love Buddy. Today we're having another LoveCast. We have one every day at 10 p.m. New York time or 10 a.m. China time or Philippines time, which is where I'm at right now. Right now it's 10 a.m. on Saturday, the 15th of June, 2019, and today's topic is about being a victim. Are you a victim? Have you been victimized? I think from time to time, part of the human condition is that we consider ourselves to be victims. Sometimes we can really get involved in that. Sometimes we can really feel very, very strongly that we've been wronged, that we've been ripped off, that we've been cheated, that we've been lied to or manipulated or abused or misused. And the world has not treated us kindly. The world has not treated us right. And things aren't fair. And sometimes victimhood is maybe there's a feeling of sadness, a feeling of frustration around being a victim. But a lot of times it's about anger. It's about a protest. It's about saying, this wasn't fair. And although the person talks about grief and they talk about frustration, really, victimhood comes generally from anger. It comes from being angry at what happened. It comes from frustration inside. And it comes from the conclusion that something unfair happened, and it's about directing that frustration at another person or another thing. For example, when we talk about business deals, business deals constantly, people are doing new business deals. They've got partners, they've got, jobs, people are working at a job, things like that. And I've met a lot of people in my life that have talked about a business deal that's gone sour. And I've met a lot of people that have complained about a business deal going sour where something unfair happened. Here's an interesting aspect, though. Here's an interesting thing that happens. Every single person was the person that had been wronged. I've never met a single person in my life who says, oh, yeah, I ripped that guy off. I was the one who did that. I screwed them in the business deal. I cheated them. I ran off with the money. Or I took that guy's, I stole the company out from under the guy. You never meet the person who says that. Does that mean nobody ever does it? Well, I wouldn't say it's not about someone never doing it. Yeah, sure, it occurs. But what it points to me more is that if you do go and talk to that guy who is supposedly the screwer as opposed to the screw E, he'll have a whole different story where he's not the victim, where maybe he was the victim. Look, the guy kept blah, 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 so I had to blah, blah. This kind of a situation. So this concept of victimhood, when we apply love to that, it goes away because love is the great equalizer. Love is the great solution. Love is the great dissolver. But what aspect of love could that be? Well, one of them is compassion and communication, accountability. For example, a lot of times the people that they feel that they're a victim, they're unable to communicate to the person who's victimizing them. Take, for example, a woman, which it's more common than not, for a woman to be stuck in a relationship with a man that's drinking and maybe abusing her, maybe physically hurting her. And a lot of women, we can see clearly. I mean, this isn't about um, uh, men against women kind of a thing. This is a thing that women see and men see, and none of us like it. We don't like to see a guy who has mistreated a woman and she stays with him. And I read an article yesterday, I think it was a Twitter share or something, where someone was talking about that and how people can get stuck in this cycle. Oh, he really loves me, and that's the real side of him. And sometimes he gets upset, and it's my fault because I get him angry. They don't realize that the guy has this side of him that is really abusive, and it's not good to them. So this woman is keeping this victim cycle going based upon this dream, this idea, this ideal. She's not really being conscious. She's kind of deluding. Is a delusion. She's lying to herself, about this relationship. Now, when it comes to relationship, whether it's one of a husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, where there's that something like that going on, or whether it's a business situation, are we responsible? Love is responsible. Love is conscious. Love is aware. Love nurtures. Love is responsible to nurture yourself. You're accountable to yourself. Did I make a good decision? Is this the right job for me? Is this the right partner for me? Is this the right place to live? Are these the right friends for me? That's on us. We're responsible for that, because if we don't take responsibility for loving ourselves and nurturing ourselves, who's gonna? Nobody else. Other people care. It's not about caring. It's about they can't, because they're not inside of you. They're not taking your viewpoint. They're not aware of what you need. They've got to be aware of what they need. They've got to be aware of their life. So when it comes to being a victim, that's a choice that we can make, sometimes by mistake, sometimes by default, and sometimes even on purpose. Yeah, I know. I hate this job. My boss is a total jerk. And then there's always a but. And this but comes along when someone says, really what they're saying after that but, no matter what the words are, the meaning is, I'm incapable, whether they consciously know that or not. I'm not going to be responsible for that. I'm going to complain about that, and I'm going to feel like a victim about that. Absolutely unfair things happen, but who is responsible for their own life? We're each responsible for our own lives. And if we understand love, it's got nothing to do with being a victim. That's the opposite of love. Being a victim, putting up with a partner that is not what you need and want, that's not empowering you, that's not nurturing you, that's not helping you see your dreams, someone you can't really trust, someone you don't feel a good teamwork with and a good partnership with. That's not self-love. Picking a job that you hate. And what is it? 74% of Americans in a recent poll said they didn't like their job. They weren't satisfied with their job. 74%. 74%, 3 out of 4. This is a huge number. But I believe it because I've seen it. Because I was the guy who was a computer consultant who would waltz in and do my job and get paid 10 times what they were making and then waltz out. And I didn't really realize that till years later. Some people were really jealous. Some people tried to sabotage me. Some people said, this is not right. This guy gets paid so much money. And I didn't have that much gratitude. I wasn't really grateful for the position that I had. But I was able to focus on, well, what kind of job do I want to have? What do I want to do? Do I want to sit in this office all day in this situation and make that much money and do that kind of a thing? Never appealed to me. Some people accept that. I wasn't any smarter or better or anything like that. I was just more focused on self-love, what's going to nurture me, what's going to be beneficial for my life, what kind of a job would I like to do? And I've always focused on that. I've probably done 25 different jobs in my life, trying this, trying that, enjoying this, not enjoying that. But I'm responsible every time for the job that I pick, the job that I stay in. I have to be. And I'm not trying to imply that I haven't been a victim before. I haven't got into this victim mentality. I absolutely have gotten into this victim. Full disclosure, which part of love is not holding back and not deceiving. I don't want to deceive you and say, oh yeah, I know how to do this. I'm an expert. I've learned about it. I'm talking about it because I've thought about it and I've learned some things that I'm sharing, but I'm by no means an expert. What I would say I've been an expert in is feeling like I was a victim to my brother. I have 2 older brothers, and the one in the middle, I'm the youngest, and the oldest, I don't think I felt like a victim to him, but the middle brother I have definitely. And I've been angry at him. I've been hateful toward him. And I think he's done some things that weren't so great. I would say that, but can I take responsibility myself? Can I admit, I was humiliated. I was humiliated, and out of that humiliation, wow, I had this idea for myself. Not supposed to treat me that way. I don't deserve to be treated. I'm above that, or I'm better than that, or I don't deserve that. And it wasn't so much about a self-love. It was more about kind of an arrogance. It was more about not really addressing the situation as it was and not realizing and having compassion for the kind of guy he is or was or what he did and understanding the circumstances. One example is him having an affair with one of my girlfriends. Well, I had him with more than one. And I was humiliated because I thought, well, if the girl likes me, then why should she cheat on me? And why should she lie to me? And I thought, if this is my big brother, why is he supposed to be treating me that way? But I was really humiliated because I thought I was something special to the girl. But as it turned out, maybe he was more special in some ways, to the point to where she would cheat on me and she'd sleep with my own brother. And this happened with him and more than one of my girlfriends. And it was really a humiliating thing. And I really hated him a lot for doing that because I felt so, I guess the word is humiliation. When we have a business deal and the partner is not doing what we expect them to do, the partnership has unequal expectations about responsibility or how we're supposed to behave, how we're supposed to handle the money, how we're supposed to handle the resources, all these things. If we're not really conscious, if we can't communicate and say, okay, how about if we handle it this way? Let's make this decision about this, or let's make this decision about that. And when things seem like, well, this is a partner that is not contributing in the way that I want them to contribute, we can make a decision. We can say, am I going to be a victim, and am I going to say this is wrong, he's the bad guy, I'm the good guy? Because like I said, we never meet the bad guy who says, oh, that's me, I'm the bad guy. Bad guy coming through. You never see that. It just doesn't happen. But we can make a decision and say, okay, I'm going to give that up. I'm going to compromise. I'm going to understand that they don't like to do this way. They don't want to do that part. I'm going to do that part. And it's not about being a victim. It's about compromising. It's about adjustments, about my responsibility and their responsibility. Or we could say, that's not really something I want to compromise about. That's really something that I consider as beneficial for me in my life. So it's more worth it to me to end the relationship, whether it's romance or whether it's a partnership or whether it's a friendship, whatever it is, and say, I'm not really interested in this. This doesn't really do it for me. As my sister taught me to say, that doesn't really work for me. It's a beautiful phrase, and it really makes sense, and it really is effective. It works. That's not working for me. So are there things in your life where you feel like you're a victim, where you've been victimized, where something you're looking at in the past and we're saying, I was cheated, I was screwed, I got ripped off, I was abused, I was manipulated, I was deceived. Are we holding on to those things? Or can we say, what happened is what happened, or what is happening is what's happening now. What am I going to do about it? Because being a victim is no part of self-love. That's a kind of self-destruction, because as I know all too well, the hate, the anger, the frustration that I felt, especially towards my big brother, but in other situations too, not as much, has only been destructive to me. It's only been this kind of thing I've ruminated about, and it's gone around and around in my mind. And even subconsciously, I noticed, I read a book, I can't remember what it was called. It was about rumination, and it taught me all about rumination and how we can go and play these tapes and play these videos over and over in our mind and feel the same emotion and hold on to that emotion, and it destroys our mood. It puts us out of the love zone. So we don't feel love, compassion, joy, happiness in our life. But instead, we're attached to this thing that maybe happened 20 years ago. Or it's happening now, and we're not doing a darn thing about it. We're just complaining because we're stuck, because we don't understand love. Call me crazy, but this is just another area where love is so effective when we understand what love is. And love is self-nurturing. Love is being responsible for ourselves. Love is holding ourselves accountable as well as holding others accountable. And if we're in a situation that we've chosen, that we choose every day, and we're not doing anything about it, guess who needs to do something? Guess who needs to take action? Because love acts. Love is active. Love doesn't sit around and complain. Love really is able to focus on the things that bring us joy and nurture. When you know love, when you feel love, when love is your center and your foundation, you know yourself and you know what you like and you know what you can do. And it's amazing when I found myself in a situation where I felt uncomfortable, where I felt like, well, this isn't right. And I finally, the lights went on and I realized, wow, there's something, I can change this. And I'm willing. I've reached a point, critical mass, to where it's not worth it to me anymore. I finally realized that. Sometimes it takes us much, much longer than it should if we're self-loving. If we know how to love ourselves and love others too, because a lot of times the situation that we're in isn't loving to somebody else either. If we know how to love ourselves, we get into situations where there's no victim stuff going on. We get into situations where they're happy and we're happy, and it works for both sides. If we feel like a victim, if we're frustrated, chances are pretty much 100% that they're not going to be happy also. You think this alcoholic who's beating his wife, or this guy who's got anger issues, who's screaming at his girlfriend, and she's cowering and afraid and blaming herself and staying in that relationship, you think that guy's happy? No, he needs help too. Even though he's the aggressor, even though we might see him as the bad guy because of his behavior, both sides need love. Both sides need nurturing. Both sides need understanding. Both sides need healing. So when it comes to being a victim, when it comes to saying, oh, I'm a martyr, you know, I choose martyrdom. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather, instead of throwing myself under the bus, I'd rather stay alive. I'd rather stay strong. I'd rather get stronger. I'd rather learn the game and the rules and how things work than lose my life so that I can proudly say, look at what a victim I am. I'm responsible for the decisions that I make. I have to be. It's not about, oh, some big courageous, some big smart thing, some big wise thing to do to say I'm responsible. No, it's about logistics. It's about the mechanics. It's about the physics of how life works, of how the world works. And that's exactly what love is based upon. Love sets the foundation of the physics for this universe, if you want to get that technical, scientific about it, but it's absolutely, absolutely true. Love is at the foundation of how everything works. So if you understand that you're responsible, then things are going to work better. You'll be more in harmony with the ebb and flow of how things work, the frequency of how life works, the rhythm of the day, the rhythm of your life, the rhythm of relationships. You get more in sync with that when you're responsible, because you can't hold somebody else responsible. And when we do that, we feel aggravation, we feel frustration, it sticks with us. And it's like this energy hits this wall and it's banging against it, and it's banging around instead of flowing smoothly like waves. So when we feel this inner frustration, when we feel this anger, when we feel like we're the victim about something, we're only hurting ourselves. It doesn't get us anywhere. If you're complaining about your boss all the time and you're sitting there at that desk hating your job, and you're even getting into little things of sabotage, I'm not gonna show up for the meeting on time. I'm gonna make them wait for me. And there's a lot of that behavior. I'm gonna take these pencils home because these guys have a lot of money. This company is screwing me. They didn't give me that raise, or they didn't give me the Christmas bonus I expected. Whatever. We could even get into the point to where we justify retaliation. And some people in wars, in conflicts, they justify murder because they say, hey, I'm such a victim. I'm being so mistreated. It's totally okay for me to mistreat others. This is how these things can go. Love dissolves that, because love says, I'm responsible for the situation I'm in. I need to do the best I can. Even if it seems like you don't have any options. With love, there are always options. who was the guy? What's the guy's name? I'm trying to remember his name. I always forget, but it's the guy who wrote a book, and he was in a concentration camp in Germany, I guess, World War II. He made it out alive, and he wrote a book, and he talks about the attitude that we can have. I'm sorry, I don't. There's somebody who's watching this who's saying it's this guy, and this is the book, and this is what he said. I can't remember the specifics, but basically the idea is that it doesn't matter where we are, doesn't matter the situation that we're in. We can look at the positive side of things because there always is a positive side of things. And the people that say there is no, look at don't you have compassion for me? Don't you understand what I'm going through? These are people that are totally just tenaciously holding on to this concept of what a victim they are, how wronged they're being wronged, how bad things are, the situation, how badly they got screwed in the past, or how bad they're being screwed every day. And when we focus on that, and when we really live that, do you see how destructive that is? Whereas if we're in our right mind, if we're in a love zone, we're going to accept it, we're going to be conscious, we're going to be aware. Acceptance is part of love. Okay, this is the situation I'm in. And what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? Am I going to sit and complain? Am I going to protest? Imagine, look at all the energy that goes into protesting and marching. Sometimes it's really good to show resistance, to show numbers, to make a point. But in general, if you were to organize and develop something yourself and work towards a positive outcome, here's an example. You don't like your job, start your own business. Or get another job if you're not the kind of person who could start your own business. But there are many, many opportunities, and I've done it many times in different industries, started my own business because I didn't like the job I had. I've worked for big corporations as a computer consultant before, full-time as an outside consultant. And even then I got caught up in some of the politics and some of the things that go on because they're not love-centered. Any of the businesses that I worked in, they're all about money centered. They're all about pleasing the board of directors. They're all about making money. They're all about getting something done according to the bottom line, according to what the project requires, according to what the boss needs to have done. It doesn't matter how the people feel. It doesn't matter how the people are getting along. What matters is just getting that thing done, even if you hate the person you're sitting next to every day. But we have a choice. In every situation, we have a choice. If you're sitting in a jail cell, if you're sitting in an internment camp, if you're sitting somewhere in a situation, if you're in a relationship that you don't have a job, so you can't get your own apartment, you don't have your own wheels, all of your financial dependence is on this person. Or if you leave, this person is going to be really angry. Maybe they'll threaten to kill you, because that happens sometimes. There's always a way. There's always a way out of your situation. Once you come to the point where you say, it's not worth it anymore, I'm going to be responsible instead of playing victim, instead of blaming, instead of complaining all the time. And that's about self-love. And it's about loving others, because blaming others is never loving. We can't blame others for our own situation. And the people that love themselves, a lot of times they'll see that and they'll say, look, that guy, look what he's doing. Why does he continue to go through that? Why is he doing that? Because it looks pretty crazy from the outside. When people say, when they complain, always it looks kind of crazy. Sure, we want to be compassionate. We want to understand, what someone's going through. We want to have empathy for them. And at the same time, feedback is part of love too. Feedback is one of the qualities of love. And we tell the person, hey, you've got to take responsibility for this. You've got to get yourself out of the situation. Is there a way that I can help you to get out of that situation, get yourself into a better situation? But this staying in this thing and complaining to me, I don't want to hear it anymore. I want to hear you saying, I made this decision, I took this action, and I'm nurturing myself in this way. Okay. Anything else we want to say about, are we victims? Are we playing the victim in life? It goes back to love. Love is the solution for everything. Look at the links below in the comments to get some more information. Got a course in love coming up that's available this week, and it's going to be released July 1st. Has to do with loving ourselves and different aspects of love. Kind of an introduction to love. It's called Love 101. Check that out if you're interested. This is Matthew from Love Buddy. This has been another LoveCast. I'm here every day, 10 a.m. Philippines or China time, which is, I'm living in Philippines, or 10 p.m. New York time. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you're having a love-filled life. I hope there's a lot of love in your life. If there's not, you can have more love in your life, because we're love machines. We can have control over the amount of love in our lives. It's a decision that we can make if we know how to do it. So check out the website, lovebuddy.com. And a lot of information there, free information about how to have more love in your life. And love solves every problem. So if there's a problem in your life, love can solve it. Absolutely. And if you challenge that, if you don't believe me, hey, maybe I'm wrong about that, send me a message, make a comment, tell me, I've got this problem and love is no good. Love is worthless. Love isn't helping. You might be right, but it might be something that you hadn't considered that you could do in the area of love that would solve that problem. And I'm happy to do anything I can, because I believe in love and I want to share love, because I found it to be absolutely fantastically magical, miraculous in my life and in the world when you see it in action. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful life filled with love. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye.